Well, today I thought I'd just kind of go over some of the off-road gear that I take, whether it's just for a day trip, going out, running some trails, or whether it be hard or easy, or even going camping, overlanding, any of that. Of course, camping and overlanding, generally there's more gear that goes along with this, but this is pretty much all the gear that I have in my Jeep pretty much all the time, but definitely when I'm going on a trip, even for a day. Let's start off with the first is a first aid kit, and this is a pretty compact kit, works really well. It's got quite a bit of stuff in it. I also have a bigger kit, so a lot of times when I'm going camping or anything, I throw that one in as well. But this one stays in the Jeep all the time, and has a fair amount of stuff in there. It's kind of amazing how much they've actually stuffed in this little thing. But anyway, kind of got quite a bit of the different things that you might need. One of the other things that I keep in the Jeep there where I can get a hold of is a seatbelt cutter, just in case something does happen, which I hope it never does. But just in case, got one of those so I can actually get out of the Jeep if it did actually end up flipping over or rolling or something, and while we're wheeling or doing what we're doing. Always keep flashlight. I have one that I can put on my head, which makes it really nice. The other night we were running a trail and we got down, it was dark, and we came back down to air back up our tires. It was nice because I just put this on my head and I could kind of see really good. And then another flashlight, it's nice to have a couple. One thing I've always kept in my vehicles is, whether it be my pickup or now my Jeep, is a way to start a fire, because sometimes you just go out for the day and maybe something happens, but I've always kept something there so I can at least get a fire started. So I keep one of these in there for fire, and my pickup I have matches too, so I think I'm going to actually put some matches in here too, just so I have two ways of starting a fire. One of the other things that I keep in the Jeep all the time is a fire extinguisher. You never know when you're going to need one. Years ago, I have one of my Dodge diesels that I've had in the past. I don't have it anymore. I sold it and bought a newer one. But anyway, we were getting firewood coming back and going over a pretty big hill. I had a pretty good load of wood and started losing power. It's got a horrible sound up front, so I was able to get up just far enough to get over to see what was going on, and my turbo had that come loose, and it was blowing hot air from that turbo on the firewall, that insulation, and actually started it on fire. And I didn't even have a fire extinguisher. I had water, and there's somebody there that had a fire extinguisher, so we got it out. But I always carry a fire extinguisher in all my vehicles now. Luckily, it didn't burn down. Then moving on to like some recovery gear and stuff. I have a Factory 55. I actually had a different kit, and I still have it, but I really like this Factory 55. It's a little lighter, a little more confined. But it makes it for, really, not very often do you need to use them, but once in a while you do. And there's been times when we're playing in the snow or something that we've either had to, pull somebody else out, or I think one time I've had to be popped back out. But anyway, so we've got straps, tree savers, all that kinds of stuff in there. And then of course a winch. That's one of the first things I put on my Jeep. On my Jeep. The first thing was the lift. Right after that was a bumper and a winch. And it's come in handy a couple times for some other people, but you just never know. I've even got a winch on my pickup that I go up in the outdoors quite a bit on. But anyway, so that covers this part of it. Let's move to the next bunch of stuff. So the next bunch of stuff that I keep more revolves around tools and airing up and airing down and that kinds of stuff. So I keep a tool wrap, I guess is what you call it. But anyway, it's got all kinds of tools, and all this is kind of a work in progress. I've added things, and so this is what I'm carrying right now, and this is what I've got going right now. It'll change a little bit as you figure things out and find things that you need to add to, or maybe take some things out that you don't really need. So at this moment, this is what I've got. I got a tool roll, a lot of tools in there. I've got a socket set right here, and then so anyway, that's a lot of the tools. There's some other other tools that I'm going to add into this. It's just kind of like I said, it's a work in progress. So I keep a set of tools in case something does happen. Going back to that time when my truck caught on fire from the turbo coming loose, I didn't have any tools with me. If I'd had tools, I'd had the truck towed, and it probably took me 10 minutes to fix it. If I'd had a set of tools, I could have fixed it right there. And since then, I keep a set of tools in there too. So tools are pretty essential. You just never know when you're going to need them. I have a little handsaw that I keep with me. I keep in the Jeep all the time. So if you get into something smaller, you can cut it out, keep going. I also, a lot of the times, not always, but most of the time, I have a chainsaw with me. So if you get into bigger trees, especially if we're camping, especially early in the year when a lot of roads haven't been cleaned out, I'll carry a chainsaw. So I keep a bunch of zip ties to go along with the tools because they come handy once in a while. You never know, but once in a while you need them. So I keep a few of those. So I keep a couple of these cans with stuff in them. But anyway, they're pretty handy. But I generally keep some straps. These are new, haven't even used these yet, but 3 or 4 of these different things in case you break something. You can strap it all, you know. A lot of times you can use these to at least make a fix long enough to get you off the trail. One time it's been quite a few years ago, I was with my brother and his TJ, and we were kind of up in the mountains above where I'm at, and we were way back in there having fun, and the bracket, I don't remember if it was the bracket that hooked to the axle or the frame, but for his track bar, but it broke. And so that was interesting. We made it out really slow, but that axle, it would just kind of shift, but we managed to make it out. But something like this probably could have helped maybe strap that down and make it a little safer. I also keep a few rags and some extra oil, brake cleaner in case you need to clean something, some brake fluid, and I'm running the PSE or the PS hydraulic assist. I keep some of this too just in case something happens. And I carry a jack. Some people like the handyman jacks or whatever you know, those type of jacks, but I like a bottle jack. That's what I've always used. It's easy, you can get right under the axle, lift it up. So that's what I carry. I have one of those pretty much in all my vehicles too. Going from there, see, we've got, so when we're getting ready to go on the trail, air down, I carry this. And I actually keep this right under the front seat of the driver's seat, so it's easy to get to. And pull it out, air the tires down to the pressure that I want to go. Usually if we're rock crawling, I'll run, you know, probably around 8 pounds of pressure. If we're in the snow, I'll go 6-7 pounds of pressure. Having bead locks is really nice because you just don't have to worry about popping the bead. If I'm not rock crawling sometimes, if we're just on a rougher road, I'll go 10 to 12 pounds. But with the 40-inch tires, it gives you for a real good ride with the coilovers and everything. So, and then when we get off the trail, I've got a kit to air everything back up. And this has kind of evolved too. I've gained more and more stuff as I go, but it keeps my air hoses in here. My air hoses, way to check your pressure and make sure where you're at. And then there's a few other odds and ends in here. I've actually got one of these that it's nice at times. I don't always use it, but it can check that. You can be airing up and checking there at the same time, which is nice. But anyway, so that's the stuff I've got for airing up, and who knows, I might add a little bit to something else that I find that I want or need. But anyway, so that kind of covers a lot of that stuff. It's amazing, this all kind of compacts down into something pretty small, and you can kind of stuff it under the seats in different places, and it works pretty good. So going from here, let's go to the next bunch. One other thing I always carry, and that keep it on me, is a knife, as it comes in handy a lot. And then like in my turtleback trailer, I have a bigger knife in there too. But anyway, that's something that's nice to be able to have with you as well, whether you carry it on you or you have it in your stuff. Okay, so some of the next things, I didn't move all this stuff from the stuff we already talked about. One thing I missed, I think, is I do keep a kit. It's got plugs and stuff, so if you get a flat tire, you can repair the tire, by putting a plug in it. And then I also carry a full-size tire too, so hopefully one way or the other I can get it fixed and get moving on down the trail. Another thing I carry is one of these batteries. It's a jump battery, and I've used it a couple times, been up camping. I don't think it was for me. I think one time it was for my brother. His rig wasn't starting, so we used it to jump start his vehicle. But they come in handy. I did use it on my Jeep once when the batteries were right there in the driveway, when they were basically wore out, wouldn't start, so I used it and jumped it. And then I put a dual battery system in there. So I have a dual battery system in the Jeep, plus I have a backup to jump here too. So it works nice. Then going on to communications, just recently I've been running the rugged radio and a couple different things, but I went to the GMRS radios. I got a hard mount one actually put into the Jeep, which has been really nice, and then another one, so if your spotter needs it or whatever, you got an extra one. I've been just doing the handhelds, but earlier this year I just decided I needed to go to a hard mount, trying to keep batteries charged and remember to get them charged, and then remember to get them in the vehicle, which I forgot one time. So decided to go with the hard mount, which is nice. We went out the other night, and they were great, really clear. Brother put one in his too. It's kind of the same setup. So for communications, that's what I'm using. I always carry one of these Garmin Minis. This has been super nice. Having satellite communications, hooks to your phone. You can it's basically like texting, and then it sends a message to whoever you're sending it to. It also can send out, location where you're at, so people can see kind of where you're at on a computer. But that's been nice. Just even going camping, sometimes we have, some of my family or other people are going, and so we don't always go at the same time. So when we get up there, we can send a message and say, hey, this is where we're at, and then they know where to go to when they're headed up there. And then the other part that I carry is mapping, or a way to see where you're going and keep track of all that. I like carrying some actual maps, regular maps, along with a mini iPad that I have in the Jeep. I've been using the Gaia app, and it's been awesome. Just recently, I got Onyx X, or the Onyx Off-Road app, and I like that. The little bit I've used it, I think the Onyx Off-Road is going to be great for finding trails, and I think that the Gaia is going to be better for mapping out a whole trail and location and how whole trip. But so we'll play with that a little bit. But anyway, so that's kind of what I use for keep track of where we're at and know where we're going, I guess, and to be able to look up things in areas that we're going to. So anyway, I think that's pretty much covers most of what I keep in the Jeep all the time. Like I said, it's evolving. I'm sure I'll add some things, and who knows, I might take some things out, but this gives you a pretty good basics, whether you're just going out for a day trip, or whether you're camping, overlanding, or doing more. And then of course, like I said, if you're doing camping, then there's a lot more gear to go with that, sleeping bags and all the other stuff, ways to cook food, ways to keep food cool. But anyway, so this is kind of my system, I guess, what I carry pretty much all the time. If I'm in town, I may not have these in there, but other than that, the rest of the stuff's pretty much in there all the time. So anyway, hopefully this helps somebody out, give some ideas on things that might help to take and be able to have available if you need it.